Hi guys, welcome back. It's Will and John once again for another edition of the MMA Huddle as we're looking ahead to UFC Auckland, UFC on ESPN Plus 26, whatever you want to call it. Paul Felder against Dan Hukarish, our main event there from Down Under. So yeah, we're looking forward to kind of talking through that card. Just before we get into anything at all, we hit 1,000 subscribers, so yeehaw. Yeah, it's I mean, a big thank you to you guys that have subbed, helped us grow the channel. That's what it's all about. It's like we wouldn't be anywhere really without you guys supporting, thumbs up, comments, whatever it may be. But yeah, let's keep growing the channel. Let's maybe one day get close to that 2,000 mark, which would be kind of a bit over the top because we thought 1,000 was pretty far off, and then we are a little bit probably sooner than we actually thought it was going to be. So yeah, just a big thank you from myself and John for hitting that sub button and being so positive and just helping us with the channel. It really is appreciated. So before we get into talking about some fights here, I'm going to pass you over to John. And how was your weekend, and how did you enjoy the fights? There were some odd ones, some really odd ones, and some odd things to see. Like, I never thought I'd see Diego Sanchez go out like that, I'll be honest with you.
Well, Diego Sanchez, the legend killer, as I want to call him. Yeah, it was. Well, do you know what? I've got to stand up for him in the sense of, not because I picked him, but because I've been in there myself and I've been hit in the back of the head. Now, I've been elbowed in the back of the head and punched in the back of the head, and I won't lie, that is pretty rough. Like, it's rough because your head is a bit whoosh. It feels like your eyes are pushing out your head. And you do feel that your equilibrium's off. Now, I've not been kneed illegally, so I can't really comment on what it's like to be kneed illegally. So I imagine he's obviously aware of the fight. He's in the position where he's comfortable. He knows he's not going to get a knee, so you're not really bracing for a knee. Obviously, got a cut above his head as well, which you've got to take into account. That would have maybe affected his eyesight because it was going kind of in between them as well, so it was hitting both eyes. So we don't know how affected he was. He could have been concussed. I don't know. I'm not saying he was a cop out. I'm never going to say that because I wasn't there getting kneed in the head, so it's impossible for us to say. I think obviously because we just know Diego Sanchez, we just think to ourselves, oh, he'll push through it. He won't care. Well, maybe he's just trying to be a smarter fighter now, going, do you know what? I want to fight another day. I'll be good. And he looked tiny next to Pereira. But I thought if that got to like the third round, Pereira would have been done. Because look, the altitude, the size, the weight cut, all that good stuff.
He fought well. Pereira fought well.
He did fight well, yeah. And do you know what? He has got a good skill set about him. He just didn't use it well in the first couple of fights. At times, he just was exuberant and trying to get attention.
Yeah, I can see. I mean, everybody that's probably watched this knows what I feel about Diego Sanchez, but I was sat there watching Saturday night, Sunday morning, and I was like, is he really going to go out like that? Now, in saying that, Pereira threw an illegal action, so... Yeah. But then, then the days, it's kind of like the last couple of days, I found out how much Diego kind of gained from getting that DQ win.
100k, wasn't it?
An extra 100k in his bank account, so I'm like, But it's just, the part that got me was the part when the doctor was there and he's trying to ask, so what would happen if I DQ'd this? And that kind of got to me. I was like, oh. But Diego, I thought Diego looked terrible. I thought he looked absolutely terrible.
He ran into him as well. It was weird.
Yeah. Diego's, I hate to say, Diego's well and truly on his way out. We've seen that coming for a while. But in saying that, Pereira looked absolutely massive in there next to him. So, and the UFC knew what they're trying to do. They're trying to match up someone like Pereira to get a win and get someone like Sanchez on his resume, and you can build him off that, maybe get a highlight reel knockout. But that didn't sit right with me a wee bit, but I can see why he did it. So, but yeah, I mean, an all right card, and we've probably got a new contender for Johnny Jones there and Jan Blachowicz, and it helps that John was in the front row watching that. So fair play to Jan. I thought Corey was going to come out there and just grind him. But yeah, he came out there, knocked him out in the first round. Props to Jan. Maybe get himself a big fight, which I think he should. I think he's done enough there, beating people like Rockhold and Jacare, who are middleweights, but they're name value guys. And then you've got Cody Anderson, who kind of took the hype away from Johnny Walker and was potentially next in line. So hopefully Jan gets his shot, and we'll see where Corey Anderson kind of goes for there. But yes, UFC Auckland we're heading down under Spark Arena, and we've got the hometown guy in Dan Hooker, and there's some fighters throughout the card from down under there. We're going to get started just from Wikipedia, where I'm looking. We're starting off in the lightweight division. We've got Jalen Turner against Joshua Kallai-biao. How do you see that one heading down?
Yeah, Kallai-biao taking a short notice step in. Sadly, Turner's opponent got pulled out. Kallai-biao just taking advantage of this, isn't he, really? He's just getting himself in the UFC. He's not naturally a lightweight, he's a featherweight. And you'll see that in the fight. Turner is a big lightweight. He's going to look massive next to Kallai-biao. I think he's going to have a big reach advantage. He's going to have a power and strength advantage. Kallai-biao might be a bit faster, to be honest with you. Kallai-biao has, from what I can see in the tape study, he has got quick hands. He's got good combinations. His last opponent, I think, was 8-8. Now, I don't know how much to take out of that, but you know, Kallai-biao's he's had some good performances on the regional scene. He's just getting his foot in the door, so I don't have any qualms with him doing that. If someone comes a knocking, you're going to say yes. And he did stop his last opponent with a good couple of good combinations. You know, he still got the finish away. And for me, Turner, man, the kid's just a good prospect. As a fighter, he's got a lot of skill sets about him. He's got a huge reach for the weight class. He's big, obviously, for the weight class. He's only 24 years old. So he's not like he's 35 and he's not going to add new skill sets to his arsenal. He's just a young kid. He's come in. Matt Favela fight. He obviously was a good fight. I thought it was a good bout between the two of them. I thought the two of them gave as much as they took. The Calvin Potter fight, solid. He Potter shouldn't be winning fights, to be honest with you, in the UFC. And to be fair, his debut was against an absolute savage in Vincent Luque. So I don't feel too many problems with it. I think Turner should be able to just literally piece up Kallai-biao in this fight. I think he'll have the strength and the reach to be able to keep Kallai-biao away from him, and really just take advantage of this fight. I think Turner's got a lot of potential in the next 2 years. We'll see a lot more out of him, developing a bit more strength as well to his physique. I think on the takedown side of things, I don't think Kallai-biao will get too much in there. I think it's just going to be a Turner win. I wouldn't be surprised if a stoppage, if I'm honest.
I'm going the other way. I'm going Kallai-biao.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm not super impressed with Jalen Turner. I think when you look at other guys around his age who, maybe it's just looking at fighters differently, but Montel Jackson's a similar age, similar kind of stature, size, reach, whatever it may be, and you can just see him making massive progressions. I don't see that with Jalen Turner at all. I think he's... It's hard to say because he's only 24 years old.
24,
I think he's a little bit shot-worn. I think he's very chinny. I think if he can get cracked in the chin, he will go down. Absolutely go down. Now, I'm saying that the Luque fight, I think you need to write that one off because that's a welterweight and you're against a guy who has got crisp counters and crisp boxing. But I am just not convinced that if he doesn't eat a shot cleanly that he won't go down. Kallai-biao, I was actually really impressed with the fights I've seen. I've seen 4 of his fights on the local scene, and I think it was 2 amateur ones. But the thing that kind of worried me, the fact that he's only fought twice in the last 2 years. He's collected belts down under. I think he had 3 separate featherweight belts from 3 different organisations, and that was his last one against, I think it was Josh Payne, his name was. That was a brutal finish, by the way. That was a big, brutal finish. Combination against the cage, knocked him out cold. I've seen a couple of his fights where he's got some takedowns, he's defended some takedowns, worked his way to mount, landed some big ground and pound. Like I said, I don't feel Jalen Turner. I think Jalen Turner's just a risk at any point to get hit with a clean shot. This guy's faster than, like I say, but he is coming in super short notice. I watched an interview with him this morning saying that he thought he might get a shot on this card, and then when they filled the card, he kind of sat back a little bit, but then put himself in the gym just in case something crept up with the lightweight division, because I think there was only two, maybe 3 fights there that he might get a call up to. And then Malarkey, I think, fell off, which I was surprised Malarkey was coming back, especially after the fight with Riddell, because they guys knocked absolute lumps out of one another. But I'm going to pick Kallai-biao. I'm just going to take a flyer on him in here and think he maybe catches the chin of Jalen Turner. But if this goes maybe past 1.5 rounds, I can maybe see Turner maybe start to come into the fight and really start to dominate from there. So, like I said, I just feel like taking a shot on Kallai-biao there. So, yeah, moving on. Hey, Priscila Cachoeira, Priscila Cacho beaten, Priscila, whatever the hell you want to call her, against Shana Dobson. Yeah, I mean, we were.
I had to use matchsticks to hold my eyes open for the tape study, mate.
Yeah, I like I say, I was saying to John, I was ill from probably Wednesday onwards, and this was the first fight I thought I'm going to really knock into and get it out the way, and I was just like, wow, one fight of each. I was like, I'm out. I'm not watching any more than that. In fact, I'm lying. I watched 2 of Priscilla's actually, but I'm going to pick Priscilla. As crappy as it sounds, you've got someone who absolutely eats shots for days in Priscila Cachoeira. She's got very little defense, striking defense. She'll just walk forward and eat shots. But what she does do is she pressures, and she can do that for the 15 minutes as well. She can take a lot of shots, but she can pressure for the 15 minutes. Shana Dobson, far more technical, far more speed to her. Maybe catch Priscilla coming forward with her speedy shots that she hits her with, but I think she fades late in fight after the first round. I think she's very vulnerable after the first round, and the one thing that Priscilla will do is she will walk her down and sling hooks, and I just think this fight's kind of a little bit made for her to probably take a beating in the first round, but come in and win rounds 2 and 3 and win a decision here. Like I say, I'm not going to go into any more than that. I'm going to pick Priscilla. She's an underdog. If I was to give you 10 quid and you were to ask me, right, so where should I put it? It's like Priscila Cachoeira. There's no way you bet Shana Dobson as a favourite. So I'm going to pick Priscilla to win via decision, win the last couple of rounds just with her pressure and making sure that Shana Dobson's out of it by the third round and she kind of wins that one. So Priscilla by decision.
Yeah, they are not the best tape studies to watch, folks. So you should give us praise to that. The pair of these girls couldn't knock the skin off a rice pudding. They are, yeah. Shana Dobson. Credit to Shana though. Last fight, she looked better condition. Physically, she looked better. So she did make some form of an effort. There's another one where like these girls, she's like 3-3 in the UFC, and Mazo just absolutely bossed that fight. Schooled her. Absolutely schooled her. Beat 7 bells out of her. Lauren Mueller wasn't even a great fight itself. I'm going with Priscilla just because of the pure, I think her aggression was what, like you say, will win the fight. I think it was a hard one to pick because they're both not great. I like Shayna's fundamental boxing skill set that she has. She has got a good jab. She's got a good straight. She does have a couple of good skill sets. Yeah, conditioning is a big factor for her. She hasn't got the best conditioning. Priscilla just... at least she's consistently bad, Priscilla. She'll throw these awful looping hooks from the first round all the way to the third. She doesn't stop throwing bad shots, but she throws everything in them. Whereas with Shana, she, like you say, because she tapers off, that pop in her punches tapers off too. And so then it's even less of a danger for Priscilla to just keep walking you down, And Shana's happy to back up a bit to cage. And Priscilla's... when she fights girls who are more conditioned on the striking, she'll get lit up like a Christmas tree. But with fights like this, I think Shana just fades off. I'm going Priscilla decision win. I just think she can light up Shana all day long, mate. It's not a fight I think anyone is looking forward to. Neither of these girls looking forward to watching each other fight. But I'm going to go Priscilla, mate.
Mm-hmm. Moving on, we've got Maki Pitolo against Takashi Sato. Who are you leaning with there?
Man, this is a fun fight. Because... now, Maki did kind of let us down in the Potter fight, I've got to admit. So that was a bit of an alarm bell for me. Alright, you can't have these coconut fists and not put out someone like Potter. Potter is beatable, and Potter was getting lit up like a Christmas tree. He's bloodied, battered and everything. But the problem is, if you look at Pitolo, he gets hit a lot too. He gets hit way too much. Way too much, folks. Like... I have no faith in that guy fighting someone like Takashi, who is in himself. Takashi's been dropped himself in not just UFC, but outside UFC. So he is vulnerable to getting hit and can get dropped and stopped. But from a technical standpoint, Takashi's a far more better fighter. He'll evade more shots than Maki will. He will land some good shots, especially being a southpaw. He'll have that kind of different stat. I'm sure he's southpaw, isn't he? I'm getting mixed up here. Am I thinking Ben's? He is, isn't he? Yeah.
Yeah, he's not southpaw.
Yeah, super stuff. So, yeah, the Ben Saunders fight, got hurt in the first. I think got dropped in the first with a punch and then came back, but did well. The Belal Muhammad fight, I thought was a good fight for him. I thought he held his own pretty well. Belal's an absolute savage in that welterweight division. Great cardio, output, and jiu-jitsu. So, obviously, he came on top there. But I think for Takashi, it's an ideal fight. I think he should have no problems here. He should be able to use his punching power, his footwork. He should be able to put Pitolo out. I don't think there should be any problems for Takashi here. I'm going Takashi win. I think he's going to get a stoppage. I think he should be able to get the win here, definitely. I think he's got a better skill set, as in discipline as well. Pitolo just kind of relies a little bit on the kind of brawl, the bait you into a brawl. I don't think Sato's going to fall into it. I think he should be able to just piece apart Pitolo. So, I'm going Takashi, stoppage. Maybe some point in the second.
Yeah, like I say, for me, it's just avoiding the big bombs that Maki throws.
Yeah,
I think if he doesn't get caught with anything too substantial, then I think he wins the fight majority of the time. The one thing that does worry me is that the Ben Saunders fight, he was getting tagged up a little bit. Ben Saunders is not really known as a guy that really tags you up all too much, but evidently, like when you get your opportunity to land on Ben Saunders, he can't take a shot anymore. So at least Maki can take a shot, and he'll be in the fight for the 15 minutes for as long as it's going. But like I say, I think Sato can maybe mix up a little bit, maybe get some like reactionary takedowns, maybe not keep him there, but I think that might be enough to kind of win him the rounds through there. Striking, I think it'll be close. Just don't get caught with a big shot, and I think he comes out here and can win a decision. So I've got Takashi Sato in that one as well. Moving on, women's strawweight division, we've got Loma, Lookboonmee against the kind of female Donald Cerrone, you could say now, Angela Hill, who just seems to be jumping into fights left, right and centre. I mean, she fought, I want to say...
25th of January.
Was it January? So 3 weeks ago, I was going to say 3 weeks off the top of my head. Mm. So she fought and she stopped Hannah Cyphers. And before that, she fought back in September. So she's very, very active as Angela Hill. And this is a matchup that I like for her. But again, taking these short fights, like the short turnarounds, is still a little bit kind of iffy for me sometimes. What we've seen from Loma in her debut against Alexandra Albu is that obviously her Muay Thai technique, her kickboxing technique is pretty good, and she's dangerous in the clinch. If she can stop takedowns and keep this on the feet, she's going to have an advantage over a lot of girls in this division with her striking, because she's so quick, she can rip the legs up, she can throw really good combination strikes as well, but I do think she's still very vulnerable to takedowns. Not that Angela Hill is an absolute takedown fiend, but she's also a striker by trade that uses her movement very, very well, so she might not be in the positions that Loma is looking for to really react to the shots that she's going to throw. Angela's, I think, longer. She can fight at distance a lot more than what Loma can, but Loma, she will walk in to shots to get into the clinch and land knees to the body and through there. This is where I think Angela needs to react to getting takedowns, especially if she's in the centre of the octagon. If they're up against the cage, it might be a little bit harder. If she can get that takedown like she did against Hannah Cyphers, where Hannah was coming in and she just reacted really well, got that fight down, and then she worked her way to mount and got herself a finish there. That's how I see her winning this fight. I don't know whether she stops Loma. Loma could be like a fish out of water when she's on her back. She might not know what to do. I know she works with the Hickman brothers at Tiger Muay Thai, guys who are coming through. I've knew about them for a long time, but they're starting to really come in, being a little bit more prominent with their grappling. But I still think that she will be fairly novice on the ground. I think she's predominantly a striker. I think that's fairly obvious. And saying that, she took down Alexandra Albu in the first fight she had in the UFC. I just like Angela Hill to get the fight to the ground and work from there. She could get a finish, wouldn't surprise me. So if you're a prop bet guy, maybe looking at Angela bet via submission or TKO, whichever one's paying big there, throw a couple of pennies on it and see what comes of it. But I've got Angela Hill. I'm actually going to pick her via TKO in the third. I think she finds a way to mount and gets the stoppage via ground and pound. So I've got Angela Hill for the W there.
Nice. I'm going the other way with Loma. I was super excited when she got signed to UFC, even though she is inferior like an atom weight. I suppose Angela Hill's the same. She's an atom weight too. But her Muay Thai is her skill set. It's nasty. Fight start on her feet, and that is something she's got a huge advantage with. She's a far superior striker than Angela Hill when it comes to technical ability. Angela Hill's good with the footwork and front strikes out there, but Loma will see that coming a country mile away and be able to counter or at least check those kicks and punches pretty much to a higher level than Angela's probably faced before for a long time. Loma as well. If everyone studies Muay Thai is a martial art. It's actually got quite a bit of grappling in. If you were to study the finer details of it, they do have quite a lot of takedowns and grappling aspects to it, clinches and all stuff. So Loma will have a very good, strong base, and she will have a good, like she showed against Alexandra Albu. She was able to hold off her for the takedowns, and we saw how strong Albu is physically. She is a dominant. She's quite a visually, she's quite a strong person. She obviously works out in the gym. Not that I've stared at her Instagram posts for quite some time, or in her lycra shorts, but whatever. She Loma though on her skill set. Tiger Muay Thai, drilling obviously with killers, savages there. Peter Yang goes out there and does stuff. I think Tyron Woodley's over there as well doing stuff at Tiger Muay Thai as well. So you never know. She might have been doing stuff with him. We don't know. Tyron Woodley might pass on his knowledge of wrestling to folks there. I think that Loma should be able to outstrike Angela Hill and cause Angela Hill difficulties when it comes to the clinch work. Loma's got the kind of great battle of getting the overhooks and underhooks and strong kind of. Honestly, doing years of Muay Thai, it's horrible. The base that people get with that clinch is insane. Single collar, double collar, it doesn't matter. It's phenomenal power. I grapple with guys who are 40 kilos lighter than me, the tiny little dudes, and they literally were crushing me like an empty can. It was insane. Because it just builds up that years of fundamental strength. I'm going to go with Loma decision. I think she can just land a better strikes on the feet and just outpoint Angela Hill for the 3 rounds. Obviously, I'm sure she will have seen some of the mistakes she was making in the first fight with Angela, where she was using the knee guard to brace across the shin, across the hips, which in Muay Thai you use to block the knees, but obviously in MMA you open yourself up takedowns. They will have talked to it, looked to it, kind of change that and mix that up. So I think Loma should come back a little bit different this time and come back with a stronger attack.
So moving on, we've got Kai Kara France, got another hometown guy here. He faces off against Tyson Nam in the flyweight division. Interesting bout. How do you see it going?
It is an interesting one. Tyson Nam, who is a veteran of MMA, he's been around for I think 14 years, something like that, he's been around for. So he's been around an exceptionally long time. My only issue with Tyson Nam was in his last fight, for example, I felt he was just too slow off the mark. I thought he was too patient. He just was waiting for something. I don't know what he was waiting for. Maybe with Sergio, they studied Sergio, they saw something with Sergio, and they were maybe waiting for Sergio to perform whatever it was, and that's what kind of delayed him. I don't know. So my only worry with Tyson is he's going to come into the fight too late. I think we might see Tyson Nam win the 3rd round, but I think Kai Kara France, he always has a good first, second round in him. He does have a good output, good energy, good. I'm not saying Kai Kara France is a great fighter. He's susceptible to getting hit and dropped if he needs to. If you can time it right, nice. I think Tyson can absolutely do that. Tyson Nam's got some good power, and also I think Kai Kara France isn't the greatest package. I think he's a good flyweight. I don't think he's ever going to be title contender worthy. Not a chance. I think if you put him against some of the top guys, he'll absolutely cut through him like a hot knife through butter. But I do see him win this fight, and I only see him win it because I think Tyson Nam's going to come into the fight too late. In like the 3rd round is when he'll start to be applying himself. I just felt that Tyson was just waiting a little bit too long in the last fight. And I think I'm worried. I don't know if he's going to do it again. Now, I don't know if he's going to do it to time it so he can drop Kaya in the 3rd round, but you can't risk it in MMA. You can't let rounds slip you by, especially in the flyweight division or bantamweight, because those weight classes are so small, the stoppages are a lower percentage as opposed to the decisions being a high percentage. So you should really be fighting as a decision. And if the finish comes up to you, knocking on your door, then you take it. I'm going to go Kai Kara France, mate, 2-1 decision. I think he can get the output and the strikes in the 1st, 2nd round. Leg kicks, maybe even attempt for a bit of grappling on the ground with Tyson now. But I think Tyson's in the third round is going to come at him with a bit more confidence with having his timings down. But I think it'll just be a little bit too late, and I'm going to go for Kallai-biao France.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I'm on Kallai-biao France. The only thing I don't like is he's coming back fairly quick after that loss to Moreno, where he took some.
Yeah.
He got kind of outstruck a little bit in that fight. Moreno was surprisingly did really well with his striking there and was a little bit quicker to the punch and kind of fainted away and wasn't getting hit with as much. But this to me, like Tyson Nam's getting shot in the UFC, but I think if he loses this one, I think they'll give him his walking papers. I think he was thoroughly outstruck by Sergio Pettis. And what's Kallai-biao France's biggest attribute he's got, his striking is really good. And he can get some reactionary takedowns out of it as well. I just think he's more accomplished on the feet at this point in his career. I think that fighting at home as well is going to be a big feather in his cap for him. He's going to be fighting in front of loads of friends and family, teammates, you name it. Like I said, I've got him starting off really quick, maybe fading a little bit. Tyson comes back into it a little bit. But I've got Tyson Nam to lose this fight to Kallai-biao France, and France moves back into the win column again here in the UFC. So I've got him via decision in that one. Callan Potter against Song Kenan. I'm done with Song Kenan. I think I bet him against Alex Morono. So from then I'm like, I'm not betting this guy. I don't know if I want to pick this guy again. And when you watch him, and I actually had to really push myself to watch this guy's UFC career. And it's only 4 fights, and he's 3-1 in that stretch. But what is he actually good at? This is what I want to know, because nothing really jumps out of him being. Occasionally, he can maybe catch you with a nice shot and not Bobby Nash. Beat Hector Aldana, but he got taken down a couple of times, and I'm like, that's a red flag to me. Lost to Morono. Beat Derek Krantz. I'm taking nothing from that fight. I mean, Derek Krantz was never UFC caliber, so he does not stand out with any glaring things to say, oh, that guy's really good in that spot. He's okay. He's just okay across the board. And that could be enough to win him the fight against Callan Potter. It really could, because Callan Potter is, he's a really old guy coming into the UFC here. Rebounded very well. I'm sorry if you can maybe hear my daughter actually shout. She's going for a bath, so she's absolutely buzzing to go to a bath. Yeah, Callan Potter rebounded really well after that Jalen Turner knockout, where he got absolutely sparked, and then he was facing another big hit on Maki Pitolo. We thought that if he gets hit with another shot like that, then he can easily go out. But he actually fought really well. Actually looked okay on the feet, even though he was really awkward with it. Got his takedowns, and that's where he won the fight. Now, in saying that, he can maybe do the exact same here. I think that is his game plan to maybe get this fight to the ground and try and be heavy on Song Kenan. Not that we've seen Song Kenan really taken down and kept down there, but Hector Aldana did it for a little bit, and that's a little bit of a red flag to me looking into this fight. But like I say, it's hard for me to be confident in any one of these guys. So when I looked at it, I thought, right, if he can get takedowns, he could possibly win the fight. I think that's the way he's going to do it. So I'll go with the underdog in Callan Potter. But like I say, would it surprise me if he comes out, gets hit with a big shot, and then gets knocked out? It wouldn't surprise me, but I'm going to pick Callan Potter for an upset victory here. Being down under, I think he's going to fight hard, he's going to fight close, and I think he's going to get this done via probably a bad split decision that probably should go the other way, but it goes to him. So I've got Callan Potter for the win.
Yeah, I find it awkward to even pick Callan Potter, because I just think he's gopping. Yeah, absolutely gopping. I think he is. I think he should count as blessings. He's putting those UFC gloves on. Do you know what I mean? It's. I think I'm going to go with Song Kenan here. I think in the Krantz fight, he didn't do too bad with the grappling aspect. He did show some areas of improvement. And like you say, Krantz isn't the top of the top, but I think Calvin Potter's just a bit slow, and I think that's where the issue you're going to find. I think Krantz is quicker. So when Krantz was going for the grappling aspect, the takedown aspect, I thought he was definitely stronger and quicker than Potter. I think Potter's going to be a bit slow for it. I think this is kind of suitable for Song Kenan. I think it'll be you got potential of a Bobby Nash kind of thing, where he's a little bit too slow with the footwork coming in, Potter, and he can get clipped. In Song, this is kind of ideal for him, and I think he should just take his time picking the shots, because if you're just out of range of Potter, there's no danger from him, and I think that's in the Maki fight, that's what frustrated me. I thought if Maki just backed up a little bit and just did his flurry, stepped out to the side or angle, he'd be all right. And that's something I think Son could do. I think he could actually land a couple of good shots here and really start to trouble Potter, make Potter shoot desperately from distance where the takedown isn't as easy to get. But yeah, I'm going to go with Potter. Potter. Kenan here because I just can't pick Potter. Come on, it's Potter. And I think even Kenan's not that great, but Potter's just, he's gopping, isn't he?
Yeah, it's not a fight that you're looking at and thinking, I'm really confident on either side there. I'm not, so I'll take a shot on Potter, you go the other side, and we'll see how it plays out.
Yeah.
But kicking about in the welterweight division, we've got Jake Matthews against the kind of Viking warrior, and Emil Meek, who's making his return after some pretty substantial injuries. Mm-hmm. How do you see that one going down?
Oh, Meek must be buzzing it. He's not fighting a bona fide wrestler.
Yeah.
It must feel like Christmas. Goddamn day. He's like someone who might want to stand with me for a bit. Jake Matthews done good in the welterweight division. He's performed well. I think he's got good striking. He's not got the best striking, but he's got good striking. He's got good cage work is what he's good at. He's good at the cage work battles, and when he gets you to the ground, Jake Matthews got a solid little ground skill set on the ground there. But I think this is a fight where Meek could actually get his first get a first win for years. When was his win like when he fought years ago? It feels like years ago when he fought Jordan Mean, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Gosh, it feels a long time ago. I think this is a fight that he can win. Injury-free. He's been at the UFC Performance Institute. So they'll have been looking after him for his kind of bumps and niggles and all that kind of stuff. If you look at the Usman fight, when he was on the feet and he got a chance to swing, Usman did not want any of that. He had zero interest. It shows that Emil can pack a punch in his punches. Jake Matthews isn't a one-shot hitter, and this is where Jake might fall into the trap where he's standing with Emil and he can get hit. Jake might not be able to keep Emil down as well. That's another thing, because to be fair to his credit, Emil didn't do too bad in this fight. He did get up. He didn't stay down. He did get up in them. And so I like Jake Matthews a lot. I always have for a long time, and I think he's looked superb in the welterweight division. I just think I kind of edging towards Maki. I just think because he's fought two absolute monsters at wrestlers, he's got a lot of wrestling now in his back pocket that he's been drilling, training to get on with the fight. And on the feet, I think he's just not. The worry you got to be thinking is he's not been able to show his skill set on the feet for a long time, and Jake won't see it coming in a way. I don't think Jake's going to realise what he's going to be throwing at him. And I think Emil's just want to get that finish. He'll want to get that stoppage big time. He'll be eking out of his body. So I'm going to go stoppage for Emil here. I think the Viking can do it. My Viking man, he's Viking like myself, so I'm going to go with Meek here. Or Meek, sorry.
Yeah, it's... Like I say, we've not seen the best out of Emil Meek because he's not had the kind of stylistic matchups to really show what he's all about. But hopefully, we've seen the matchups now, we can see where his weakness is and he can improve on that. I think he's been doing that. He's been training with Jack Hermansson as well, so he's been going between the PI, he's gone back to Scandinavia, and he's been training with up-and-coming guys from Scandinavia, but predominantly Jack Hermansson. We all know what his top skill set is. He's a very, very good grappler with some heavy ground and pound. So having that guy helping out only kind of helps with that. Like I say, Jake Matthews is not a Kamaru Usman and he's not a Bartosz Sawinski, where at that point in their careers, it was takedowns first, control. Still, this with Fabinski, it's always going to be what we've seen with Usman. He's a true champion, welterweight champion. And having that loss on your record for Meek, it's not a bad thing, because you've seen the progression from Usman now that he's striking deadly. He's got some power there, and if he catches you with the right shot, he can take you out. Jake Matthews, he can't come out here and get takedowns, because he can. I just don't think he can consistently keep Emil Meek on the ground like those other two guys don't. Have control them once they get back to the feet. Because once they go back to the feet, they want to take that guy down. That's what they did for the most part. On the feet, Emil Meek very dangerous with a lot of power. We've not really seen that much since the Jordan Main fight. So I'm interested in the fight as Emil Meek as an underdog, because he's a pretty vast underdog here. And like I say, Jake Matthews, sometimes He fights close. Not too sure about the way he fight. Like the Kowalkiewicz fight, I thought he lost that fight. I think that was his debut at 170, so that was a bit of an awkward one there. But I'm going to pick Emil Meek in this one as well. I think that sometimes Shane Matthews starts off really well and then he kind of falls a little bit and he gets caught in some spots. The Rocco Mark fight showed that as well. So I'm going to pick Emil Meek. Maybe a TKO. So I think he's going to catch Matthews at some point. I'm going to hurt him. He's going to stop him. So I've got Emil Meek for the win there. Moving on to the main card here, we've got Kevin Aguilar against Zubaira Tukhugov in the very first fight of the main card in the featherweight division. Interesting bout, in my opinion. Tukhugov, I thought he looked a little bit rusty against Lerone Murphy, but I think in that fight we actually seen more at Lerone Murphy. I thought, even though he got taken down in that fight 5-6 times, I thought he showed a lot on the feet, and to me Zubaira showed that he really hasn't kind of favoured away from the skill set that kind of got him to the UFC. So maybe he's not made any kind of changes since he's been off, which is a little bit, especially in his spot, you would think fighting with Khabib and so on, and being at AK and having different coaches around you, that you make some big adjustments. He doesn't throw with a hell of a lot of output either. He's pretty much trying to get his arms around you and kind of hold on to you, take you down. And then you've got someone like Aguilar who is down to fight, is very durable, is hard to get down, and can eat a shot very, very well. But I think this has all the makings of being a really, really, really close fight, and it's hard to be super confident on one side. I do like Aguilar, but if you're taking an underdog shot on someone like Zubaira Tukhugov, it wouldn't surprise me, honestly, that people will be kind of betting him in the spot, because he does have grappling. If rounds are close, it could come down to that grappling. I just think if Aguilar stuffs takedowns, I think he's got more output, he's got more combinations, I think he hits harder and can take a shot better, so he's more dangerous throughout the fight. I maybe getting a stoppage. I don't see a stoppage coming from Zubaira in this spot. I just see him trying to get his hands on Kevin, put him against the cage, maybe take him down, just try and win through his grappling. I don't think that's going to be enough here, so I'm going to take Kevin Aguilar via decision.
Nice, yeah. Tukhugov, his last opponent, like I say, Lerone Murphy. I'm be posting an interview with him shortly. I interviewed the gentleman. I just haven't had a chance to upload it because the Storm Dickhead Dennis, as we call it, has been cutting my Wi-Fi off for the past 4 days. So every time I upload it, it just stops. So I gave up. I've just given up. I'm going to upload it at some point this week. But yeah, that fight, like you say, Will, huge favourite. He was a huge favourite, and he didn't look that great. He didn't look too great in the sense of 3 rounds. Conditioning wasn't there. He was throwing big looping shots to get close to the grappling. And even then, if you notice, when he gets people down, Will, it doesn't land much. It doesn't do much damage. It doesn't really terrorise you. One thing about Kevin Aguilar is if you get him to the ground, he's got sweeps and submissions. So not only are you dealing with a Kevin Aguilar who's on the feet, good. He's good on the feet with the power. He can take a hit. He's also on the ground, really good with sweeps, really good with submission attempts. So Tukhugov's got a bit of a weapon here, a dangerous time, because he's going to have to try and get a guy to the ground, hold him down without the guy sweeping him or going for submission attempts. It's not going to happen. I think you might see him getting taken down, but you might see him getting swept at the same time. I think Aguilar's got the skill set to get him over and onto his own back, and then you're really going to see what Tukhugov can do. Because I see him, when he gets caught in fights with any kind of position, he's kind of, I'm going to say the phrase, don't worry about it, just spazzes out. He just flims and throws it, and it's not a technical escape, he just flims himself about. The Moicano fight, yes, it was a little while ago, but he did similar things there. He's got these little traits that he hasn't got rid of, and that was the thing, Will, like you said before, I think he hasn't got rid of those bad habits or added new skills to him to maybe negate the bad habits that he could use instead. I'm going Kevin Aguilar. I think Kevin Aguilar might get a solid decision win with the submissions and a sweep threat on the feet. I'm going Aguilar, mate. I think I'm kind of happy and confident that bet.
Moving on, we've got Brad Riddell against Magomed Mustafaev. This has all the aspects of being an absolute banger. Who have you got in that?
Oh, I'm loving this fight. Riddell, with his striking background, with an obscene amount of striking fights, is a dangerous guy to have in front of you. Mustafaev likes to spin round like a disco ball and throw lovely little kicks and whizzy little moves. It is the makings, Will, for a violent fight. For me, I think this is Riddell's biggest opponent in skill set, stature, everything. Mustafaev, remember, we saw him back in Belfast against Kevin Lee, and that fight alone was a good fight. You know, he was fighting Kevin Lee, who was up and coming, then he had a break, so to speak. Was it injury he was out with, or was he suspended? I can't bloody remember now. He was out for a while.
Yeah, I think he's had a couple of incidents. I think he had an injury, and then there was a kind of maybe a USADA thing for a wee while, but nothing came of it, so...
And then Fiziev, he fought that fight where he got an absolute barn burner of a return back. It was a bit of a quick return. That's the only kind of worry about it. You think you've had a break, you came back, you got a quick finish. But he might have added so many skill sets to himself that we don't need to worry about it. It is tough he's a tough fighter, Mustafaev, but Riddell is not going to be going for the grappling aspect. He's not going to be wanting to take the fight to the ground. He'll want to keep it standing. That's where, for me, I think Mustafaev can maybe try to take advantage of that and go for the grappling aspect. Use the striking, open up the striking and get the fight to the ground. I think Brad Riddell... Oh, no, it was Malarkey, sorry, who's cornered by Ross Pearson, wasn't he? Sorry. But Brad Riddell is with Hooker and Cachoeira France, I believe. I think they're all training together. So he's got a great camp around him. I'm sure his grappling aspect will have been looked at. My only worry is Riddell got hit quite a bit by Jamie Malarkey as well, and he got a bit bloodied up. And I thought, I don't think you can the kind of shots that Mustafaev can throw at you, you don't want to be getting them. You don't want to be taking them. Like that body kick that he threw on Kevin Lee at the start of that round. That would take a lot of people's bodies away. I'm going to go Mustafaev. I just think he's got a bit more of the unpredictability about him, which makes him a bit more dangerous. He can burst out that big spinning kicks or the body kicks as well, and he's got the kind of grappling aspect of him as well. That could really cause Riddell a bit of a problem. I'm going to go with Mustafaev. I'm going to decision, but it's going to be a fantastic fight either way. I love the matchup. I think it's going to be great.
Yeah, I think outside of the top fight, I actually think it's the second best fight in the card outside the main event. I think it's a really, really well matched fight. Two guys that are strikers, and they're dangerous strikers at all points, really. But Riddell comes from the kickboxing backside. That's where he spent the majority of his career, and he's kind of moved into MMA, but he's been around the sport for a long, long time and knows the ins and out of it. So obviously you've got a more kind of technical guy in Riddell against probably a more, what's the word?
Flamboyant?
Maybe just like a savage in Mustafaev, who just throws with kind of reckless abandon, big power, but by trade is actually a wrestler, but he never uses it.
No.
Like, we've not seen it, not that he's been around the UFC all that long, because he took a massive break, but he comes from a wrestling, I think it's a freestyle wrestling background, so Riddell's got to know that in his back pocket he might have some wrestling. I actually thought in the Malarkey fight he showed really good hips, deep hips, like strong hips, when Malarkey was trying to get in for takedowns, because I thought Malarkey was going to get him a couple of times, and he kind of showed off to the sides and never got taken down. Eventually, as the fight went on, that started to kind of work against him when he started to fade. The things I took away from that fight there was Malarkey was catching him with shots and like stopping him in his tracks a little bit. If that same instance happens in this fight, I think Mustafaev knocks him out, because he's got venom in everything that he throws. He throws 100% into everything. But in throwing 100% into everything, I think that he may fade later on. And if this becomes a close fight in New Zealand, I see only one winner on that spot, and that would be Brad Riddell. But I'm actually going to pick Mustafaev to knock him out. I think these guys are going to start swinging, and I just think the power and the speed of Mustafaev is going to catch him with something and knock him out. So I've got Magomed Mustafaev to win via knockout. I'm going to go early, round number 2. Heavyweights, Ben Sosoli, Marcus Rogerio de Lima. So when I came into this fight, I thought, Ben Sosoli, I think, has maybe got a good shot here. And then I went back and watched, and I was like, oof, maybe not. Like I say, it's a heavyweight fight. Stuff can happen at any point. But outside of being a boxer, Ben Sosoli's not much else. He's a bit of a punching bag, really. That lead leg that he's got takes an absolute beating in every fight that I seem to watch. It's there. He doesn't know what to do. He doesn't move it. He doesn't lift it. So his leg is there. I mean, Greg Hardy's not been around the sport that long, and he was ripping that leg apart before getting himself DQ'd, whatever Greg Hardy bloody does. But even Greg Hardy was like pot shotting from a mile back. Now, Sosoli's a small, fat heavyweight, where Greg Hardy's a big dude. He's got a bit of length about him. But Ben Sosoli's been around the sport longer than what Greg Hardy is. You should be getting inside. You should be neutralising that reach, finding a way against a guy who's less experienced than you. And he couldn't do it. And ultimately, he lost that fight, but he got a no contest because of Greg Hardy's stupidity. Then you've got Peugeot, who, if this stays a fight on the feet, I think that he's just got more. I just think he's always dangerous. I think that he's got more variety with his strikes. He's not just a hand striker. He's got kicks as well, and he can go after. I mean, if he watches that fight with Greg Hardy, he's got to realise, look, there is something there that I can go after all the time. And as long as I keep my hands up, I shouldn't get countered and I shouldn't get knocked out either. If it goes to the ground, I think De Lima would have an advantage there as well. I watched an interview actually this morning with Ben Sosoli, and he said in this interview that I want to be knocked out. I want to know what it feels like one day. And I'm like, dude, you're a professional fighter. There is fighting for your family, and you're saying that one day you would like to be knocked out and go to the Shadowlands pretty much. That's what he says. He likes to get into fights and get hit and see test his chin. At heavyweight, you don't want to do that too often, because once that goes, you're not going to get any work anywhere, brother. So that was a red flag to me. So I'm going to go Marcus Rogerio de Lima. I think if this stays a stand-up fight, he's got more weapons, and he's got some big power as well. If it goes to the ground, I think de Lima's got the advantage there. So I've got Rogerio de Lima via a very, very, very sloppy decision.
Yeah, I'm going Marcus as well. I think that skill set wise, he's just got a bit more all round, hasn't he? One thing the Ben Sosoli fight was he was stepping in with his jab. He was trying to step in and close the distance with jabs and straights, but he kept finishing the punches on the end. He was never getting the punches flush. It was just the end of the punches that were landing. So not much was landing in power wise. Marcos has very traditional guard, the 11 o'clock as you call it. His arms are up. If you watch his fight, especially the Adam Voracek fight, he lit Adam's legs up. Like, he absolutely murked those legs, and he will kick Ben Sosoli's legs into next year, and I think that'll be a huge factor in this. I think first round, I think Marcos is just going to kick those legs in that front leg, make Ben have to switch stance, and then he's going to have a field day then, because you're going to have Ben who's going to be able to not pop any shots off, not close distance down. You're going to have a far more interesting fight. And Marcos de Lima, I know he went down to middleweight at one point. He's kind of like me, where he dropped down a ton of weight classes, but now walking around a nice heavyweight weight. But I think he should be able to win this fight comfortably. I think he's a far more accomplished fighter. He's got better opponents on his record. He's stronger skill set. And those kicks is the big thing. Sosoli just likes to box, but he's short little pops that he has. He hasn't got the great distant management. He doesn't set up the distance well. So I'm going to Lima. I'll go stoppage, like with leg kicks. Let's go wild leg kick stoppage.
So moving on, we've got Karolina Kowalkiewicz against Xiaonan in the women's strawweight division. This is kind of a match-up here. You've got your young rising star coming through in Xiaonan, and you've kind of got, sad to say, but Karolina, who's kind of fading off and just not looking like a previous self. So, who have you got in this one here?
Yeah, we are dealing with Karolina Kowalkiewicz. She was fighting for her career in the UFC. She has been really poor in the last few fights. Now, again, don't forget, it could be anything going on in her life. There could be stuff at home. There could be a mindset. She might just not be in it anymore. Anything. She could have one foot in the door thinking about, I don't know, parenthood, whatever. We don't know what's going on. We don't know. But this is not the kind of fight you want to go into. This is not the kind of girl you want to be going into in a do-or-die fight, because Yang hits like a freaking truck. That girl comes forward, aggressive, gets shots in, and that girl, for me, can hit 3 rounds, no problem. High output, high power. Karolina, for me, her head is up too much in fights. She gets hit too much because she keeps her head alignment. And that's only in the past few fights, really. She started to slack off a bit for some reason, whatever it is. I don't know. She started to move her way a little bit in the last few fights, but well, I can't see Jan losing. When you look at the performances that Karolina's putting out, I just can't see her losing. It's beyond me. Now, I hope that Karolina can put performance in to pull herself out of it, because I love watching her fight, because if you look at her career in the UFC, she is actually a very good and fun, entertaining fighter to watch. But I'm going with Jan. I think Jan's going to absolutely piece her up for 3 rounds. I think Karolina's too tough for her own good. I think she'll take a 3-round pasting, and she'll probably get cut by the UFC. She might get signed up to KSW or whatever, but I'm going Jan, mate. I just can't see anything past her getting a win. She's an absolute terror to fight.
Yeah. I think Jessica Andrade absolutely changed her life. A year and a half ago, back in September 2018, with that knockout, that was you don't really see that often in the women's side of things, like heavy knockouts. That was a heavy knockout, and she's not looked the same since. The Watterson fight, it was close-ish, but once Watterson was keeping her at distance with those kicks and then getting takedowns off it, and then Alexa Grasso just straight boxed the face off her for 15 minutes. And you can even go back to, our wins, Felice Herrig and Jodie Esquibel. She should be beating people like that. With Xiaonan, she throws a lot of strikes. I think the defense of Kowalkiewicz cannot stand with the amount of strikes that Xiaonan will throw, and she keeps a distance quite well because she uses kicks very well too, and that could frustrate someone like Karolina. She's going to have to come in close. She might eat a couple of kicks to the face or teeps coming in and stuff like that. And she just absorbs far too many strikes now. There was talk, I think, around about a year ago, of her trying to start a family, so I think her head's moving swiveled by that, and this might be the time for it. So for me, I'm taking the fighter who's ascending ahead of the fighter who's clearly descending, and Kowalkiewicz is descending while Jan is moving up the ladder. I've got Jan Xiaonan to really piece her up for 3 rounds here and win a fairly unanimous decision in that one there. We're into the co-main event in the 205-pound light heavyweight division. We've got Jimmy Crute against Mikhail Oleksiejczuk, and interesting fight. Mikhail, I think a lot of the shine was left kind of removed from him after the WSP fight, where he was a pretty heavy favourite, got taken down, he got Von Flued, which OSP can do sometimes. Let's put that out there. But it's an interesting fight here with 2 kind of up-and-comers in the division that maybe you wouldn't have kind of seen this fight probably 6 to 9 months ago. They had 2 guys kind of coming through the division, but since then they both lost, both got submitted. And this one here is all the makings, I think, of being a very kind of close fight. Jimmy Crute is super aggressive. Mikhail Oleksiejczuk is predominantly a striker, and he's fairly decent with that. When it goes to the ground, I think that Jimmy has an advantage, but he's so naive in some spots. He's so young in his career that he puts himself in bad positions, and if you do that, sometimes you get taken out, and that's what happened in the Sukhanov fight. You can't do that because Sukhanov, that's his wall down there.
Yeah.
Just stand with the guy, because the guy cannot take a clean shot, and if you can just stay patient and just wait for your time, you will catch him a shot. Don't go to the ground and don't try and... I think he initiated the takedown as well, which is even worse. Now, I think I want to say he's a brown belt, and we've seen him, like he was in the Kimura Paul Craig, so he's got some technique, but he needs to sit back and just relax a little bit and let the fight come to him instead of him taking the fight to his opponent. Oleksiejczuk was kind of the guy that people were saying is coming through very, very quiet, still only 24 years old. I still think he's small for light heavyweight. I think he'd be a fairly decent middleweight. And his wins, I mean, he beat Khalil very, very dominantly, but then he popped by USADA, Gian Vellante and Gadzimurad Antigulov. He's got some really good striking. He really has. He's got some crisp counter striking. But I think Crute can maybe take a shot. He can give back. I don't think Vellante and Antigulov really could. I think their chins are a way worse position than what Jimmy Crute's is. It's interesting close fight. I'm going to go Jimmy Crute via a decision, but a very, very close decision. Wouldn't surprise me if Oleksiejczuk got the nod, but I'm going to go on the Jimmy Crute side. I think he just does enough. This could be a split decision, but I've got Jimmy Crute for the win.
I'm going the other way. I'm going with Ollie. I think Ollie can do it. Speed is what got it through for me. When I looked at the two of them, the skill set wise, Ollie has got some really quick hands, and what he does, what I like about him is his footwork. He's fast, and that's partly because I think he's just a small light heavyweight. Will, like you say, I don't think he cuts much. I think he could make it. I think he'd be an absolute mare at middleweight. I think he'd cause a lot of problems there, because I think his hands would be quick still, and the power would be following with him. I think he's got good power in his hands. I think he can crack hard. I think the speed is a good thing. His footwork's great. I think Jimmy's going to want to probably try and initiate the takedowns after potential bit failure on the feet, where he'll probably get outstruck a bit too much for his liking, and I think that's when he'll try to get the grappling in. But I'm going with Ollie here. I think he can just absolutely piece up Jimmy for the 3 rounds. I think he'll get the better strikes off on him. I think he'll hurt him more. And over the course of the 3 rounds, I think he'll really cause Jimmy problems there. I think Jimmy's going to be the younger, fresher fighter with the chin, as opposed to, like you said, Will, with Violante and stuff like that. So he'd be a bit more durable. But I'm going to go with Ollie here, mate. I think on the feet, I like what he does. I like the kind of kicks and punches he throws. I like the way he moves. It's exciting. He's aggressive. And if Jimmy comes into that world, I think he's going to come off worse.
Yeah, like I say, I just think it's going to be close. This one.
Yeah, tough match.
Yeah, it really is. I find that one very, very hard to pick. The main event, a banger, absolute banger of a fight. Paul Felder, the Irish Dragon against the Hangman Dan Hooker. Oh my goodness, this is a really, really, really good fight. A really good main event, and a big fight for both guys where they are in the division, because a certain Conor McGregor spoke of Paul Felder's name, and he wins this fight, he throws his name in there straight away. And what got announced last week? UFC Ireland. Not that you fully expect Conor McGregor to be fighting in Dublin again, but it's out there. So great fight, hard fight to pick. Who have you got?
Well, hang on a minute. Conor McGregor mentioned Diego Sanchez, so
yeah.
don't you get your hopes up, Will? That's the real money fight.
By the way, Diego Sanchez should fight in Dublin. Just saying, make it happen.
Yeah. Autumn Lobov. Resign Autumn. No, Paul Felder, Dan Hooker is in its own right a violent, beautiful storm, isn't it? Let's be honest with you. And it's got a bit spicier because of Felder with the messaging about the Hooker name and Hooker taking offence, and so you get a little bit of bad blood in there too. So we're in there. We're in now. You sold me a little bit more. I was already sold on the fight, if I'm honest with you, folks. As soon as it got announced, I thought, great fight, because you've got Paul Felder, who bites down that gum shield, has wicked leg kicks and punches with the kickboxing style. You've got Dan Hooker, who's got nice long reach. He's got 4.5 inch reach advantage here with Paul Felder. Throws nice kicks, got good kind of defense on the grappling side of things with the submissions and the defense takedowns, but it's not going to the ground. We don't need to talk about the ground game. Ignore the ground game. To be fair, Paul Felder has got me in a guillotine choke before, the little git. I'll let him have it. But overall, Paul Felder and Dan Hooker, striking wise, is going to be violent. My only worry is for Dan Hooker. It's a 5-round fight. Paul Felder's got great conditioning, and he puts a pace on. He puts an output on there. He's got good strikes. Leg kicks are a big thing. And if I'm Paul Felder, I'm going for the body. I'm going for that body. You look at I know he's not a switch kick the same speed as Barboza, but if you take a look and a leaf out of the Barboza fight, you just pick off Dan Hooker. And as the rounds go on, you saw Dan Hooker start to slow down a little bit. He started to deteriorate a little bit, and that wear and tear really played a factor. Dan Hooker, I'm sure he's went back and addressed some things from that fight, and that's the kind of thing that sticks out to me. I think Paul Felder can grit out fights. He can take hits, take punches, and he can crack some good shots. I think he'll be able to wear Dan Hooker over the 5 rounds. I think Paul Felder over 5 rounds can get the strikes off, get the better off Dan Hooker. The first round or two might be Dan Hooker's because of the range difference and what he does. He could be a bit off-putting with his long arms, and he has his arms down a little bit low, which can catch you out a little bit. But I think when Felder gets the groove on in maybe the second round onwards, he should start to really put it on to Dan Hooker. So I'm actually going to go Paul Felder here for the decision win. But it's a fantastic little matchup, though.
I find this fight really super hard to kind of decipher and pick a winner, because obviously Hooker's fighting at home. He's in the main event spot. He's going to have people everywhere, friends, family, teammates, you name it, and countrymen, fellow countrymen.
Yeah.
And then there's obviously the added spice with what Felder said, and you watched that promo from the weekend that the UFC did, and he looked pissed. He looked like really, that got to him, and it looks like he's going to come for the throat of Paul Felder. And when you look at Hooker, he has got a lot of attributes which are fantastic. Extremely long, very, very tough. So yeah, he's got a lot of dangerous attributes. I think he has to kind of get into the inside, and maybe has to clinch up with Dan Hooker a little bit, which can obviously be dangerous. But I think that's where he has to get in and really work the body, work the leg kicks, which is something I feel is a big target area for Paul Felder. He's been in there. He was a commentator when Barboza absolutely killed Dan Hooker in that fight. He was too tough for his own good and took far too many shots there. So I think he realises that he has to really limit Dan Hooker at some point in this fight, and if he doesn't, Dan Hooker can maybe start to take over. But I love the durability of Paul Felder. I love his hands as well. So if he can get that going, he could really, 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 really be in the ascendancy here. But like I say, it's a tough fight to pick. I'm going to go with a more durable guy and Paul Felder to go down to New Zealand and win a decision in the land down under. So yeah, it's a tough fight I think it's a tough fight to be really certain on either side. I'm going to pick Paul Felder to come through very, very closely here. But yeah, that is our picks for UFC Auckland down in New Zealand. So I'm going to get the betting side of things. I have no bets so far. I am kind of monitoring the lines and seeing what's going on. It's a bit of a harder card to bet, I thought, than last week, but I kind of shot the bed last week with my bets. So too much confidence in Corey Anderson. That never really works out. But lesson learned. The one bet I've kind of really got a close eye on here in the UK is Yan Xiaonan, Kai Kara France. I've got plus money on that as a parlay, which I do like. So that's something that I might lock in later tonight, depending how it goes. Then you're looking, like I said, I've picked a fair amount of underdogs. I think we both kind of went a little bit in that. I think it's a card that could be some upsets here. So if I'm looking at underdogs that I really like to play, I've picked Priscila. I'm not going to bet her because you just cannot bet that fight, I don't think, even though you're getting dog odds. Callan Potter, plus 160. I don't think I can bet that one because I have no confidence in Callan Potter. Emil Meek, plus 200. I've got more confidence in that one than the previous two. So I might take a stab at that, and it's big odds as well, so you don't have to put as much of a stake into it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and then you're looking at, I've got, obviously, Josh Kallai-biao against Jalen Turner. He could knock out that guy. He's plus 170. Coming in short notice, it's something that I like, but I don't think I could really commit to that. Jimmy Crute was the other underdog I played, that I picked, plus 120. I think I would need more, closer to 150, to feel any type of push to maybe make that bet. Paul Felder is plus 125. If that maybe gets to plus 140, if it gets plus 150, I'll bet that fight. But I see that fight kind of line being close all week. So yeah, but like I say, if you want to play Yan Xiaonan straight, minus 245. Brad Riddell, he's an underdog. He was a high underdog as well last week. This time last week he was plus 185. The money has been coming in on Brad Riddell. He's now plus 105 with a comeback in Mustafaev at minus 125. But money is coming in Riddell, so that line on Mustafaev is coming down, which might tempt me if I'm being honest with you. Kevin Aguilar against Tukhugov is minus 110 apiece, so I did pick him.
Okay, yeah, fair enough.
You might get underdog odds. Zubaira was that underdog odds. You might get Kevin Aguilar at that. So really the ones that are sitting out to me is Xiaonan and Kai Kara France parlay. I like that. I think I will play that. I think I'm definitely going to take a peek at Emil Meek. I just feel like that line is a little bit off. But I think people will be heavy on Jake Matthews because Meek has been kind of dominated in his fights in the UFC for the most part. So yeah, Maki Pitolo against Sato, minus 105 for Pitolo, minus 115 for Sato. So that's a pick 'em. If you've got a close lean in that, then you may be able to make some money. Angela Hill's minus 200, too high for my liking. Loma Lookboonmee's plus 170. So that's not a bad dog bet.
I'm going for that. Yeah.
So yeah, if
Main event is sick.
Yeah, it's a really good main event, and actually, talking about it now, there's been a lot of money that's given in Davis and Figueiredo. So Benavidez was a fairly sized. He was a favourite at minus 170. I seen earlier on. He's now down to minus 125 with the comeback on Davison at plus 105. Close fight, a really close fight, hard one to pick between those two. Not watched the tape on that one. Looking forward to it though. So guys, that's us here for the MMA Huddle for UFC Auckland. We're in the middle of this long run. We've hit 1,000 subs. Just keep supporting, keep subscribing, keep commenting, keep liking. That's what we're after here. Just help us grow the channel. From myself and John, we thank you very, very much, and we will catch you next week for UFC Norfolk in Virginia for that one there. So enjoy the fight card when it comes around this weekend, and all the very, very best.